everyone, and welcome to the Sedona International Film Festival. I'm your host, Carol Kahn. We are coming to you live from Yavapai College, the Sedona campus, and would like to thank our sponsors, Northern Arizona Healthcare. And joining me now is one of the filmmakers for this year, and your film is?
Scenes from the Glittering World.
And Jared, welcome. It's good to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Is this your first time in Sedona?
It is, actually, yeah. I've never been here before, but it's beautiful.
And you don't live that far. You live in Utah.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of far. But
yeah, it's about an 8-hour drive, so
yeah.
Kind of but it's beautiful scenery the whole way, so it's not too bad.
No, I know. I have to get up that way. I am planning on, because I haven't been to Page. I haven't been.
Oh, yeah. Page is lovely.
Yeah, I definitely have to make that little trek up north.
Okay.
So you'll have to tell me all the hot spots to go to.
Yes, we can do that.
Awesome. So talk to me a little bit about your film. Tell the audience what it's about.
Sure. So Scenes from the Glittering World is it's a portrait of adolescence. It's about 3 Navajo youth at the most remote high school, or one of the most remote high schools in the United States, which happens to be about 4 hours north of here at the Navajo Mountain community. So it's called the Navajo Mountain High School. And it's a coming of age story. It's kind of an intimate portrait of young people facing challenges, overcoming things, connecting with their families.
Well, connecting with families. So one of the trailers that I was just watching a little while ago, I started laughing because it was the scene where the brother and sister, he's in the background, hitting himself in the head with a ball. And she's like, this is what I have to deal with every day. Yeah. And it just made me laugh. I was like, this is really funny about that. So what inspired you to do this particular film?
Well, I learned about the community through an article that was focused on a robotics team at that high school. So I thought it was really unique that there was this competitive robotics team there. And so that's what introduced us to the place. However, we didn't make a film about the robotics team at all. It kind of just brought us there. Ultimately, I think I just really felt a strong connection with the youth there. I grew up in a very rural place. My family moved from South Africa, so I came to the United States when I was very young, and I've always lived in kind of rural places, and I love them, but I've also sort of felt like an outsider in them, because if you've ever been in a small town, there's very insular communities. It's kind of everyone knows each other, which is a beautiful thing. It can also be a challenging thing when you move into a setting like that. And I guess I've always just been drawn to stories of people who kind of live off the beaten path. They're kind of on the fringes. And so that was initially, I think, what really attracted me to try and engage with those stories.
That's really interesting. I know, so the group, the youth that you have involved in this particular film, they're indigenous people.
Yes,
they're from the Navajo Nation, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
So it's not easy to get onto a reservation to do a story about the Navajo. They're very protective of their family and their culture. So how did you manage to get into that?
I think for good reason. I think, unfortunately, indigenous peoples have been mistreated by the media for so long, and their representation in films has not always been very productive or fair. And so that was something that, going into this project, I wanted to make sure that I didn't, just make a portrait of a community to make money off of them, essentially, or to try and use poverty or misfortune for the titillation of an audience, essentially. And so I think our approach was one that took time. So I spent a lot of time in this community. We also created a cultural advisory board, and we invited elders in the community to be a part of it. So they weighed in on the film, helped us make decisions in our editing. The other important thing was our 3 subjects, we call them subject collaborators. They helped me write the film, essentially. So I worked with them closely to decide what scenes we'd shoot, what they talk about. So they really crafted their own stories.
Oh my God, that's amazing. So you really just involved your subject matters into your film.
Yeah.
The elders, so when they like looked at your film, was there anything like, because I know that they're pretty particular with some of the things and the messages that they get across, and they have to have approval from like different, like 5 different people that are the elders there. But was there anything that they like didn't want that you actually wanted, or were you pretty much amenable to what they suggested to you?
No, they definitely pointed out things that I just didn't. I was unaware that it might be offensive or not culturally sensitive. For instance, there was a scene that I really loved. It was sort of an interview scene where we went to a gravesite, and when I showed this to some of the community members, they immediately said, we don't do that. You can't show this. And they had to teach me, and I had to kind of understand why that was their perspective. And ultimately, we said, okay, absolutely, we'll cut it. So we chopped that scene out of the film and moved on.
Were they, because I know how they feel about like burial sites and all that kind of stuff. So were they kind of like upset that you even shot that? Did they know that you were like planning on doing that? How did that?
No, I don't think they knew. And I mean, and so that brings up a good point. I think as we progressed in the film, we tried to start learning more about what scenes might potentially have sensitivities around them. Because when we shot that scene, it didn't seem to us like it would be problematic, but it was. And I think they also the community was so kind, and I think with the time we spent there, I think they came to understand and trust us and know that we weren't trying to misrepresent them. We were like sincerely trying to tell their stories in a way that they were proud of. So yeah, I think they were understanding and said, hey, you messed up, but that's okay. We'll forgive you.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
So working on this particular film, did it inspire you to do anything else moving forward?
As a filmmaker?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, making this film was just so impactful, and I think engaging with these families was so inspiring for me. And one of our characters in the film, his name's Granite, he's told us that he would like to pursue filmmaking now after he's had this experience of being in front of the camera. And so I'm hoping that we can, try and give him mentorship and help steer him in the right direction. So, that's one thing that hopefully moving forward we'll be able to do.
That's awesome. I love that. So have you kept in touch with them?
Yeah. In fact, Granite and Elle, 2 of our collaborators, were here on Sunday for the screening, and this was the first time they've seen it with an audience.
Oh, neat.
And their families were here, and yeah, I think it was a really powerful, good experience for them and me. I loved it.
How did you come up with the title of the film?
That's a great question. This was taught to us by the Navajo cultural teacher at the high school. His name is Leroy Bedoni. He taught us that in Navajo culture there's a creation myth, a creation story, and it's represented in 4 colors: black, blue, yellow, and white. And white is the final world or the modern world, but it also has another name, which is the glittering world. So in a sense, we're saying scenes from the modern world.
Oh wow, I got goosebumps. That's really cool. What were the other ones? Do you remember?
The names of the other worlds?
Yeah.
No. But we could call up Mr. Bedoni. He would tell us.
All right, wait, where's my phone? No. Yeah, no, I find that very fascinating.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's very interesting learning a different culture.
Yeah.
And you came from a different culture. So
right, yeah.
I'm sure just coming here and learning about something that not everybody gets to see or learn about.
Yeah, I feel so fortunate that I was able to spend time with that community and that they trusted me and allowed me to be a part of their lives.
Yeah, that's a big thing, the trust,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So the film was shown on Sunday. Is it going to be shown again?
Yeah, it'll be Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Okay, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. And how could people find out about your film?
They can Google us. They can also go to scenesfromtheglitteringworld.com, We're also we will have a public broadcast through Independent Lens on PBS in May 16th.
Oh, congratulations.
Which we're very excited and grateful for. And you'll be able to learn a lot about the film through PBS as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us. It's
Thank
been
you. It's my pleasure.
great having you here, and we want you to come back. So
Thank you.
And do more.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jared, for being with us.
Sure.
And we will be back with more from the Sedona International Film Festival. And before I sign out, do not forget, what is our hashtag? Do you remember? Sedona Film Fest 2022. So follow us on social media, and we'll be back with more after this.